everyone, I am Shravanti. Today I am going to explain scheduling in Linux. Scheduling in Linux is nothing but scheduling the job of allocating CPU time to different tasks within an operating system. Normally we think of scheduling as being the running and interrupting of processes, but another aspect of scheduling is also important to Linux. Normally we can think scheduling is as same as another's, but in Linux it is very important to run the various kernel tasks. Kernel task is nothing but the kernel will encompass both tasks that are represented by the running process and tasks that execute internally on behalf of a device driver. And it is called scheduling in Linux. Scheduling in Linux is different and scheduling in operating system CPU scheduling is different. Both are different in operating system. Process scheduling is nothing but it is a line in this Linux. Process scheduling has two separate process scheduling algorithms. It has in process scheduling it has two different algorithms. First one is time sharing algorithm and another one is real time tasks. In time sharing algorithm, preemptive scheduling along with the multiprocessor. It is designed for that, and real-time tasks are designed for absolute priorities are more important than fairness. In that, for it is used for fair preemptive scheduling, and whereas in real-time tasks, it is important for absolute priorities fairness. And then kernel synchronization. Kernel synchronization is important topic in the Linux operating system. In scheduling, a request for kernel mode execution can occur in two ways. It will occur in two ways. The first way is a running program may request an operating system service. It means it will request for an operating system service either explicitly via a system call or implicitly. For example, when a page fault occurs, a device driver may deliver a hardware interrupt that causes the CPU to start executing a kernel-defined handler for the interrupt. Kernel synchronization requires a framework that will allow the kernel's critical sections to run without interruptions by a critical section. And in Linux, there are two techniques used to protect the critical sections. And the first one is normal kernel code is non-preemptible. When a time interrupt is received while a processing is executing a kernel system service routine, the kernel's need reach flag is set so that the scheduler will run once the system has completed and control is about to the return to the user mode. And the second technique that applies the critical sections that occur in an interrupt service routines. By using the processor's interrupt control hardware to disable interrupts during the critical section, the control guarantees that it can proceed without the risk of concurrent access of shared data structures. And there are some penalties to avoid the kernel synchronization. We can see what are they. Linux kernel uses a synchronization architecture that allows long critical sections to run without having interrupts disabled for the critical section's entire duration. Interrupt service routines that can be separated in two parts. First one is top off and another one is bottom off. In top off is normal interrupt service routine and runs with recursive interrupts disabled. The bottom off is run with all interrupts enabled by a miniature scheduler that ensures the bottom offs never interrupt themselves. This architecture is completely by mechanism for disabling selected bottom halves while executing normal foreground kernel code. And in kernel architecture, there are two types of processors, single processor and multiple processors. In single processor, there are two preemptions, disable kernel preemption and enable kernel preemption. In multiprocessor also there are two types, acquire spin lock and release spin lock. And first we can see Linux uses an interesting approach to disable and enable kernel preemption. It will provide two system calls, preempt disable and preempt enable. However, in addition, the kernel is not preemptible. If the kernel mode task is holding a lock, to enforce this rule, each task in the system has thread info structure that includes the field preempt count, which is counter indicated the number of locks being held by the task. When a lock is acquired, preempt count is incremented. Likewise, it is decremented when lock is released. It will increase when the lock acquired the preempt. It will decrease when the lock is released. If the value of preempt count for the task concurrently running is greater than 0, it is not safe to preempt the kernel as this task currently holds a lock. If the count is 0, the kernel can be safely interrupted. And here, if the task is greater than 0, it is not safe to kernel. If the task is equals to 0, then the kernel can save. And then spin locks, along with enabling and disabling kernel preemption, are used in the kernel only when the lock is held for short durations. And here, interrupt protection levels. There are 4 interrupt protection levels: top half interruption, bottom half interruption, kernel system service routines, user mode programs. Kernel system service routine and user mode programs are preemptible, and they are types of kernel synchronization we have already learned. And here the arrow mark indicates the increasing the priority by upwards. Each level may be interrupted by code running as a higher level, but will never be interrupted by code running at the same or lower level. User processes can always be preempted by another processes when a time sharing scheduling interrupt occurs. Linux implements this architecture by separating 2 routines we have already discussed: top half and bottom half. In top half, the top half is a normal interrupt service routine and runs with recursive interrupts disabled. Interrupts of an higher priority may interrupt the routine, but interrupts of the same or lower priority are disabled. Bottom half. The bottom half of a service is routine run will all interrupts enabled by a miniature scheduler that ensures that bottom halves never interrupt themselves. The bottom half scheduler invoked automatically when an service routine occurs. Then symmetric multiprocessing. Symmetric multiprocessing is also called as SMP. SMP means symmetric multiprocessing. In Linux 2.0 was the first Linux kernel to support SMP hardware to separate the processors or threads can execute in parallel on separate processors. It means in Linux kernel, it will support SMP hardware to separate the processes or threads. They can execute in parallel on separate processes. They can't be execute in same process. They can execute in the separate processes. To preserve the kernel's non-preemptible synchronization requirements, symmetric multiprocessing imposes the restriction via a single kernel spin lock that only one processor that a time may execute kernel mode code. This is called as symmetric multiprocessing. And thank you. This is my presentation about Linux scheduling in Linux. Thank you.